and we can go back to our ordinance introduction for this evening, which is 2016-42, an ordinance revising the Code of Princeton regarding the setback of porches and garages, amending the calculation of prevailing setback, amending floor area, and amending the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974, and the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968. And I'd like to invite up Mr. Solo to walk us through some of the changes that are being recommended.
Thank you, and good evening. We have a couple of members I may introduce. The Planning Board formed a...
You're not very loud. Can you just get closer so that you're... Yeah, you can also sit at the table.
I'll sit at the table. Maybe that'll work better. Does this mic pick me up okay? Okay, so this past spring, the Planning Board formed the Neighborhood Character and Zoning Initiative. The members of that come three from the Planning Board, the Chair of the Planning Board, Wanda Gunning, who's here, the Vice Chair, Gail Ullman, and then the Chair of ZARC, our Zoning Amendment Review Committee, who's Tim Quinn, who's also here. And then we had two elected officials, the Mayor and Councilwoman Krummeller. This Neighborhood Character and Zoning Initiative is a community planning effort to address concerns raised by many residents about the impacts of home development activities on the character of their neighborhood. The goal of this initiative is to develop strategies, policies, guidelines, and regulations to shape future home construction activities so that the outcomes complement the traditional character and form of different neighborhoods. The initiative is developing short, mid, and long-term actions. The short-term actions include several immediate zoning amendments which can be considered for adoption this year. Additional short, mid, and long-term strategies will be developed for 2017 and may include additional zoning amendments, changes to the Princeton Community Master Plan, or new development guidelines. The task force held a number of public meetings and discussed impacts of home development activities on existing neighborhoods. As the mayor had indicated just a few moments ago, it also held 3 focus group meetings to get input from various constituencies. Those 3 focus groups were with professionals. Mostly at the meeting were architects, real estate professionals, and attorneys. We invited and had a meeting with residents where we again focused in on their primary concerns. And then the 3rd focus group involved the boards and commissions that make up the municipal government, the Historic Preservation Committee, the Zoning Board, the Environmental Commission, Bike Safety, and a few other groups as well. During the public meetings and the focus group, we received a lot of comments. Most of them focused on the mass, the form, and streetscape in a neighborhood, as well as the overall neighborhood character. Many of the comments related specifically to development on smaller lots of a half acre or less, and you'll see as we get into the ordinance, some of the amendments just apply to those. A lot of people said that as you get into over an acre or 2 or 4 acre lot, many of the issues in terms of streetscape or the size of the home go away because the lot is so much bigger. During those meetings, there appeared to be consensus on moving forward with 4 topics. The ordinance before you amends the former borough and township land use code regarding porches, garages, front yard setback, and floor area. If there aren't any questions on the process that we've been using, what I'd like to do is just walk you through the ordinance section by section and explain a little bit of how that would work. Okay. If you turn to the ordinance, the first section is section 1. This amends the former township code to require the use of prevailing front setback, and again, this would just be for lots that are a half acre or less. So in the township, it would affect the R5, the 6, 7, 8, and 9, all are designated zones. Currently, the R5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 require a 25-foot front setback. What this prevailing front setback would do is allow us to match what's already there. As you know, many of the zones were put in place after the development had already occurred, And what we're trying to do is create a little bit more of a uniform streetscape, because what we heard in the meetings were that streetscape is very important in having the homes, they don't have to line up exactly, and you'll see when we talk, excuse me, in section 4 specifically about how to calculate the prevailing setback. We do allow for a little bit of variety, but that it will help to create what is currently the street pattern or rhythm that's being developed. Section 2, I don't know, Mayor, if I should take questions on each section, or if you just want me to run through them and then we can come back.
It might make sense to take
The message you're telling us.
Yeah, take questions from each section, and we'll do all the questions from council, then we'll open it up. If there's any public comment, then we'll bring it back to council again.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to add to what you said about this, is that especially in the Witherspoon-Jackson neighborhood, the setbacks in the zoning are totally different from what's there, and so it really has caused a lot of problems.
And I just, apologies if I'm not able to phrase this well, but, so what we're trying to do is encourage porches, right? Because we think those...
This doesn't do the porches, we'll get to that.
But when we get, okay, so you want us to wait and hold all the, okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about what the goal is of requiring a garage to be set 6 feet back from the side of the building?
Maybe you should go through all of, I think we were going to go through it one by one. So this was if there were questions about having a prevailing setback.
It won't take me long, why don't I go through all?
Well, I think it will help I think it's going to help our discussion if we treat them each as a separate issue and then do the questions, because I think it'll make it'll make it clearer what we're doing for everybody listening, and I think for ourselves.
So on the front yard setback, this is basically just cleaning it up, is what you're saying?
Well, the issue right now is the Witherspoon-Jackson neighborhood is a perfect example to see where it's happening. So most of the homes there have a very small setback, the existing homes. And when somebody comes in and builds a new property, then they're trying to build exactly to the code so they don't have to come before the zoning board. And what it says in the township is you need to have a 25-foot setback. And so, or yard setback. So what happens is that the new homes are set back away from the street, and they have a big front yard, and it breaks up the streetscape. And because it's a fixed number, what this does is prevailing is that it adjusts block by block so that whatever is there already that forms that streetscape, anything new will hopefully conform to that, especially if you're on a street where all the houses have a similar setback, but it also does not comply with the zoning.
And the borough already had this, so it's really bringing the township.
Right, it consolidates the two, and we've been talking about if they're closer, there are neighborhoods in the township where everything is further back, and this works that way as well. So that's what it is. It's about keeping that rhythm and pattern of the streetscape. It seems to have worked fairly well in the borough. We'll come to a section where we're amending that language, and it'll be the same in both the borough and the township.